Because tonight will be the night that I will ball for you. Listen, shout out to the Miami Dolphins, man, for once again holding me over just long enough for basketball season to start. Of course, this year I was hoping it'd be a little bit longer, but you know. I'm not filming this entire video on Snapchat, but I do have bloopers of Emo Ant at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, yesterday was Miami Heat Media Day. Truly one of my favorite times of the year because it means that Heat basketball is officially back, and I love seeing all the new faces. Of course, you got Bam Adebayo, Tyler Herro, Duncan Robinson, Josh Richardson. I guess that's new, kinda. Not really. Thomas Bryant, Drew Smith, and Jimmy Butler, which technically was a new face yesterday. Okay, so obviously not that many new faces this year, but I'm not going to be pessimistic this season. Barry Jackson has been on a whole tirade on Twitter, basically telling all the pessimistic Heat fans just to pick up another hobby because he doesn't want to hear people complain about not having Damian Lillard for the whole year, which I understand. I'm certainly not going to tell people how to fan. If you want to live your life being mad at the front office, by all means, you have that right. But that's not going to be me. I still think this Heat team is going to be very competitive, and I am looking forward to this season. But of course, as far as Media Day, I have to start with the talk of the town, which was Jimmy Butler. And on his new look, he says, "This is my emotional state. I'm one with my emotions." I think, first of all, this was absolutely hilarious by Jimmy Butler. Truly one of the funniest people in NBA history. I mean, just from the look of him, and obviously I couldn't take him seriously when he talks, but really, aside from all of that and just being objectively funny, this was such a great teammate move by Jimmy Butler. Of course, coming into this media day, we assumed the main topic of conversation would be Damian Lillard. And of course, I'm sure a lot of people in the organization was upset they didn't get him, like Bam Adebayo, like Jimmy even perhaps, probably even the front office. Of course, the whole fan base has been upset over the last week since even Drew Holiday is on the Boston Celtics now. So the whole franchise and their fans in general just needed something to laugh at, something to make them smile, and Jimmy Butler did that for everybody. Not to mention that any potential awkwardness between the young guys and Tyler Herro after almost being shipped out 100 times during the summer, a lot of that awkwardness was kind of alleviated because Jimmy brought some levity to the situation. And now everyone was talking about Jimmy's emo hairstyle as opposed to Damian Lillard not being there. So that was just an all-around awesome move by Jimmy Butler, who continues to be one of the most underrated great people just in the entire NBA. And of course, Jimmy Butler wasted no time talking about how he thinks the team is going to win a championship. I absolutely love that for him. He's very clearly in great spirits coming into the season, opposed to a guy like James Harden who wants to get out of his situation, but maybe we'll get into that later. There's a quote from Barry Jackson they basically asked Jimmy if he felt like the Heat were wasting his prime, and Jimmy Butler said, "We straight. I know what I'm capable of and what the guys are capable of. We're going to end up in the finals, and this time we'll win it." Some Heat fans may be tired of hearing that because, of course, Jimmy has said that multiple times in the last. He's basically said it every year that he's been here. This year going on year 5, and bam, they got close. They got close multiple times at this point. I'd like to believe that Jimmy will win one with this Heat team, but obviously the other teams in the East got substantially better. But regardless of all that, I like hearing Jimmy be confident. And again, this is just being a great teammate. He's not putting his teammates down by saying we don't have enough. You know, he's the ultimate team guy, and he has the utmost confidence, and that's something that I absolutely love about him. And he also did address the whole Dame stuff. He said to Taylor Rooks,
"I am happy for Dame. Still gonna be me. I'm gonna go beat Dame, Giannis, and Adrian Griffin. On our way to a title, like I've said every single year."
Again, love the confidence by Jimmy, and love that he flat out mentioned Damian Lillard, something that I liked that most people did today. They really didn't treat it like, you know, the big elephant in the room. They pretty much directly talked about it, and that includes Tyler Herro. I mean, obviously he was asked, I'm sure, 100 times about the Dame rumors, and he gave exactly what you'd expect, is the utmost professional answer. He even acknowledged this is his 5th year in a row being in trade rumors, but he acknowledges this is a business, and he said all the right things, exactly what you want to hear about. He's here to work hard. He understands the situation. He doesn't feel slighted by being almost traded for one of the greatest players of all time. He understands that situation. He even quoted my guy Tua Tagovailoa when he said, "I don't feel not wanted." That's something that, of course, Tua said a couple years ago when there was all the Deshaun Watson rumors, which, thank God, talk about dodge the bullet. Dolphins dodged the bullet, not getting Deshaun Watson. But I just love how Tyler Herro was up front. He has the right mindset of everything that you would expect. And I've been saying for the last few days now, since the Dame trade didn't happen, Tyler has the exact mentality you want in a young player who's gone through a ton of stuff. All he knows is hard work, and he has that mentality to just prove everybody wrong. And for that reason, aside from being a very talented young player, I think he's in for an awesome year this season, and I'm truly super excited to see from Tyler. And he had another great quote where he said, "For the teams that didn't want me, that's on you." I love the confidence, although he did throw some shade, and I seen the same tweet here in which he said, "I'm ready to play the best. Portland ain't the best, so I'm not worried about Portland." You could tell he's very salty that they completely devalued him as a player. And I am looking forward to that first matchup in Portland because I think he's going to ball out and do it for all the Heat fans that hate them and Joe Cronin. And you got some quotes for the other young guys too, who obviously were also in the trade rumors. Nikola Jovic says to my guy, Brendan Tobin, shout out Tobin and Leroy. Make sure y'all check out their show every weekday. But Nikola Jovic talking about the Damian Lillard rumors says, "I'm happy I'm here. Even if I got traded, I still love these guys. They did a lot for me. I'm more happy that I stayed because I know I'm going to get a lot better here. Everything they do, right?" So, of course, even just being in the organization for a year now, he can see how awesome it is here. And one thing that I love is a lot of young guys know if they want to get better and get the biggest payday possible, Miami is the place to come. That's why I feel like Miami's always able to get these super underlooked guys who really want to work hard. And because of that, they always turn them into the best. I mean, even Nikola Jovic, he put on 30 pounds this offseason, 30 pounds of muscle. Or maybe it wasn't this offseason, but I think it was from the beginning of his rookie year. But that's a huge difference. And if you watched him in FIBA, you can see a visible difference in his body. And even at Media Day yesterday, he explained that it helps his game in its entirety. From getting to the basket, to drawing fouls, to getting rebounds, to defense. It helps him in a great deal. And for that reason, I'm super excited to watch Nikola Jovic also. The other young guy we heard from yesterday was, of course, Jaime Jaquez Jr. And they asked him about the relationships he's built so far since being drafted by Miami. And he says Kevin Love has been around a lot more, so it's great talking to him. And Bam Adebayo, I've probably seen him the most out of anybody in my time in Miami. You love hearing that from Jaime because it sounds like the vets, I'm counting Bam as a vet now, really took Jaime under his wing, which is something you love to see because obviously Kevin Love, who's a champion, well-respected in this league, Bam Adebayo, one of the best players in this league. You love that Jaquez is going to learn from guys of that caliber. And those guys might have thought all offseason that Jaime was gone in the Dame trade, but they still didn't lack in helping him because they just seemed like great people. So it's nice that Jaime was able to acknowledge that, get that experience, and really form a bond with those guys. Because if this Heat team is going to have any chance to make some noise, they need everything to go their way, and that includes chemistry and development from the young guys. We also heard a little bit from Erik Spoelstra, who, of course, had his famous infamous quote, however you want to look at it at this point, called "We have enough." So that was his way of addressing the Damian Lillard rumors. And to this point, it's somewhat been true. I mean, you had enough to get to the finals. You haven't had enough to win it. But I understand there's 100 circumstances that go into that, including injuries, which that hasn't been to the most fortunate to them over the last few years. But hey, if they made it last year and you could argue they got better this offseason, which I think the argument is there, that's not something we're going to talk about this video, that hey, maybe they do have a chance to get to the finals again. Because yeah, the Bucks got Damian Lillard, but the Heat bust their ass last year in 5 games. Is Dame enough to win the Bucks another 3 games? Maybe, maybe not. Time will tell. I don't think this Heat roster is completely done yet. This might be the team we see going into the first day of the regular season, but I do think even up until the trade deadline, they will make some sort of moves to kind of fortify the roster because, one, Kyle Lowry has a giant expiring contract. I don't think they will let that go for nothing. I don't know if anybody will want that, but a lot of times you get other teams who just are desperate for a point guard. Maybe there's some injuries. They need someone who can just play the second half of a season, and that's what Kyle Lowry could do. So I do think he's likely to be moved at some point. But if not, they still need another point guard, whether that happens or not. Even Spoelstra was asked about that today, and he said he wants to use Herro as a point guard, but certainly not from day one, which I like to hear because we saw Tyler Herro as a point guard a couple years ago. It didn't go great. I understand he's had a couple years to develop since then, so maybe it could be better. I just personally don't think that's his natural position at this time. But regardless, the only point guard on the roster is Kyle Lowry. So for that reason alone, some moves at some point is inevitable. Whether it's something we've heard about 100 times like Buddy Hield and TJ McConnell, which I love, or whether it's even James Harden, I don't know. Now, I don't want James Harden, never wanted James Harden, and the Miami Heat would never trade for James Harden. But at this point, I would like to make the regular season interesting because I'm looking forward to the regular season, but I know it's starting December. It's going to get quite boring again, just like it did last year until we get to the playoffs. And James Harden will make that a little bit interesting. On Twitter, I proposed the Lowry for Harden swap solely because the Heat don't want Lowry. Harden doesn't want Philly. And if you bring Harden here, he gets one final chance to rejuvenate his career in the best place possible to do that. And then Lowry gets sent back to his hometown in Philly to play with Joel Embiid, so he's not completely screwed over either. I don't think that trade would ever happen. It's just something I threw out there. But hey, maybe we'll get a James Harden video out at some point if nothing happens with that situation. Because at this point, he has to get traded from Philly because he didn't show up to media day today. And knowing Harden, he's only going to make it uglier. But that's basically it for the Miami Heat training camp. Around the rest of the league, we saw some interesting things, perhaps. We saw Anthony Davis saying he wants to play all 82 games. Good for him. Not going to happen. We saw Ben Simmons giving the Michael Jordan quote, "I'm back." Okay, that I'm a doubter in that, but we will see. And we also saw something I thought was pretty cool, which was Mr. Beast and his chocolate brand Feastables is now the official patch sponsor of the Charlotte Hornets. So I thought that was pretty cool because obviously I enjoy Mr. Beast. He's probably the most famous YouTuber right now. Him, PewDiePie, they're all up there, of course. And Mr. Beast just kind of started like I did, a kid in his bedroom talking to the camera. And now he's one of the most successful celebrities in the world, you could say. And I hope to get to that point. So shout out to Mr. Beast, man. He's doing big things. And I guess I should note the Miami Heat have an official patch sponsor this year of Carnival Cruise Line. So shout out to Mickey Arison for getting the free promo. Doesn't really help your case of everyone calling you cheap this offseason, but hey, it is what it is. I'm not going to fault you for it. But that's all I got for this video, man. Training camp officially starts today in FAU. I think they're back in Boca. And then obviously preseason is sometime after that. But leave your comments down below. Let me know if you agree with anything I said or if you strongly disagree. And leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more Heat content. And now I'll play all those emo ants bloopers.